How you guys doing today? This is Michael with Full Court Press. Today is Thursday, February 18th, 2021, and I'm here to break down this three-game NBA slate with you guys. The first game we have here is Toronto Raptors plus 6.5 versus the Milwaukee Bucks, and that total is 235.5. The second game of the day is going to be Miami Heat minus 2.5 versus the Sacramento Kings, and that total is 222.5. And then lastly, we have the Brooklyn Nets plus 2.5 versus the Lakers, and that total is 232.5. We only got three games today. It's going to be a small slate, so let's go ahead and get started. Um, the first game here we see is Toronto Raptors plus 6.5 versus Milwaukee Bucks, and that total is 235.5. Before I even dive deeper into this game, I know these teams have played each other twice this year already. The first time was like 3 weeks into the season. The Bucks were looking pretty good. Raptors hadn't got their feet under them yet, and the Bucks took that win convincingly, easily. But the Bucks on this last, these last 4 games, they've been on a 4-game losing streak. They just haven't been able to get it together. And pretty much ever since Drew Holiday went on COVID protocol, he hasn't played at all. He has a chance to play today, but he hasn't played at all in the last 4 or 5 games due to COVID tracing. But just ever since he hasn't been playing, they don't have a point guard to control the floor. You know, the Bucks will always be a good team. They have Giannis. Giannis is a hard guy to stop. Unless, you start building a wall at the free throw line, kind of like all these NBA teams are doing to stop him from getting to the basket. Which NBA teams are getting a lot more hit to this year. Last year, they were trying, but they weren't really getting it. He was still dominating. This year, they got his number, and even if they don't, this guy's getting close to a triple-double every night, but if his supporting cast isn't helping him, then there's just no way that these guys are winning. Like I said, Bucks won the first meeting. The Raptors won the second meeting, which was 2 days ago. 2 days ago, the Raptors ended up winning that game 124 to 113. That game totaled 237, hit the over. But today, Kyle Lowry's questionable with an ankle. In the middle of that game versus the Bucks, Kyle Lowry went out with an ankle injury, never returning. But today he's questionable. They haven't ruled him out. He might still play, but he's still kind of tender on the ankle, so we'll see what happens. It's only been 2 days since the last time they played. So keep an eye on that one. That's two things to keep an eye on, Drew Holiday and Kyle Lowry. If either one of these guys play, it works in favor for their team. And if they don't, vice versa, then it's a go for the other team. Fred VanVleet's on fire. This guy is on fire. I don't know what else I can say. This guy's on fire. He's finger roll layups, 3-pointers. He's stealing the ball. He's pretty much doing everything out here on this court, and we've seen it from Fred VanVleet before, but not so far this season. The last 4 or 5 games, he seems to be in a groove. He seems to be getting it together, and they're really riding the hot hand of Fred VanVleet. If they hadn't had him playing the way he was, I highly doubt they would have took that win over the Bucks. There's 4 circumstances that I see today where the Raptors could fail. Kyle Lowry doesn't play. I like the Bucks to win. Fred VanVleet doesn't have a good game. I like the Bucks to win. There's different situations right now that I could see myself comfortably getting to the Bucks, even though they lost to this team 2 days ago. Giannis in that game, he had 34 points and was 2 assists away from a triple-double. So he had 34 points, 10 rebounds, and I think 8 assists. Pat Connaughton and Bobby Portis in that game versus the Raptors. It was Giannis with 34 and almost a triple-double. The second leading scorer behind him was Bobby Portis with 20, I believe. And then you got Pat Connaughton as the third leading scorer with 18. As you guys could tell, I haven't even named Chris Middleton yet. Exactly. They lost so they lost to the Raptors by 11. And Bobby Portis and Pat Connaughton were the second and third leading scorers for the Bucks. Middleton had 11 points. Not that he was shut down or anything or not making a lot of shots. He ended up going 5 for 10. He didn't take that many shots. On a typical night, you'll get a good 20 and maybe 10 rebounds out of Chris Middleton. He's been getting a lot of double-doubles. For some reason, he was just off that game. He wasn't playing a good game. Whatever the case was, he had a quiet 11 points and just wasn't there for his team. He didn't show up. The Bucks, they were outscored in the third and fourth quarter. So about until halftime, I think they were up by like 2 or 3, pretty much in the lead in the driver's seat, looking like they were going to get the win. Came out in the second half and just stunk the place up. Got outscored by the Raptors, which are a horrible defensive team. Haven't been putting up numbers like they did in the playoffs as of late. But the Bucks just weren't able to put the ball in the basket. But you know, this, like I said, this is the Bucks. This is not like your regular NBA team that's just on a 4-game losing streak, dropped a couple games. They got one of the best players in the league, and you can never count him out. And I'm still just, even after that win, I'm still not ready to hop on the Raptors bandwagon and start betting the Raptors way when they've only showed me maybe once or twice that they actually look like an NBA team and they know what the fuck they're doing this season. Like, you know what I mean? So the Bucks here at home, I'm looking for them to bounce back here, especially if Kyle Lowry is unable to go. If Kyle Lowry's unable to go and they got a chance to get Drew Holiday back, I'm really liking this team today. So my pick here is going to be the Bucks minus the 6.5 in the over 235.5. The last time these teams played, it went to 237. Middleton wasn't shooting good. Even though these other players were scoring, their shooting percentage wasn't that good. It went over with all these players not even playing that well. So if they end up playing well, they get a couple extra shots. I see this going over easily, pretty easily, pretty easy. Let's get to the second game here. We got the Miami Heat minus 2.5 versus the Sacramento Kings, and the total is 222.5. Quick thing to look at here: the Miami Heat are on a back-to-back. It's not that bad, because last night they played against the Golden State Warriors in San Francisco, so they'll literally have to drive an hour. I think it's like an hour 15. You don't drive that fast to get to Sacramento to go play the Kings tonight. So it's not a big travel thing to look into. You know, they are on the road. It is a back-to-back, but literally this San Francisco and Sacramento are like an hour apart, so they're not traveling that far. For the Miami Heat, they got Avery Bradley, Silva, Dragic, and Leonard all still out today. The Heat are on a back-to-back, like I said. They lost in overtime to the Warriors last night. I watched that game. The Warriors were pretty much down double digits all the way through the third quarter. They couldn't break that. I think it was like 10 points that the Miami Heat was up by. Pretty much the whole game, like 10 to 12 points, pretty much the whole game. Coming into the fourth quarter even. Bazemore and Curry. Without Draymond Green last night, they had to play a lot of Bazemore. He had to step up, and he did. He had almost, I think he had like, 28? And Curry had 25, I believe. But the Warriors outscored the Heat 29-19 in the fourth quarter. 29-19 in the fourth quarter. It's crazy. And then they out-rebounded and outscored them in overtime with no centers. This Miami Heat team is just, you know, like I was saying yesterday in my video, this Miami Heat team doesn't give me any confidence to bet on them. They're dropping games left and right. This isn't the Miami Heat of old, the playoff Miami Heat. It's not the same team. So there's just no way here that I feel comfortable on a back-to-back after exerting so much energy in an overtime loss to the Golden State Warriors. Now you're going to go play the Sacramento Kings that got the fastest pace, one of the fastest pace in the league. They're top 5. De'Aaron Fox is back. They're pretty much healthy for the most part. They have all their players. Head-to-head this season, the Heat are 1-0 in this series. They did end up winning the last time that they played against the Sacramento Kings. But they only won that game by 1 point. It was 105-104. I believe De'Aaron Fox drove to the basket with a couple seconds left, like 2 or 3 seconds left. to try to win the game, and Bam Adebayo made a game-saving block. He blocked the game winner. But they only won by one, and it was a game-saving block. And just here in this spot, I feel like they're too tired. They're on a road trip. There's no way I'm not taking Sacramento here. There's just no way. In that game that the Miami Heat only won by one, Fox had 30 points, De'Aaron Fox. Jimmy Butler had 30 points. Like I said, Miami's on the back-to-back, going from San Francisco to Sacramento. I think the Kings here, with a couple days off since their last game, I think they'll be well-rested enough to come in here in a home game and give the Heat a tough game. And seeing as though the last one only ended by one in the Game 7 block, they're giving the Kings plus 2.5. That's a one-possession ball game. My pick here is going to have to be Sacramento Kings plus the 2.5 in the over 222.5. So that 222.5. Yesterday, Miami Heat and the Golden State Warriors, they hit like a 235, I believe, or 239, something like that for their total. Their total was only 224 at the time. Had that game not went to overtime, it would have hit the under, though. But Sacramento is a way faster-paced team than the Golden State Warriors. They shoot a lot of threes. So does Miami Heat. And if I see this game going like I think it's going to go, Sacramento Kings probably winning by 10, 15 points. You know, a lot of the Miami Heat backups and a lot of the Sacramento King backups are shooters. They have stretches at the 4, at the 5. All their guards can shoot. I see this game going over 222. In today's NBA, it's easy. Teams are hitting 240s, 250s for a total, so this 222 to me is just way too low. So I'm going to take the Sacramento Kings plus the 2.5 in the over 222.5. And that's going to be my pick for that game. Last but not least here, we have our Brooklyn Nets. This one's going to be exciting. Even though KD's not playing tonight, I don't believe he's playing tonight. This is probably going to be one of the most exciting games of the night. The one that I'm excited to watch, at least. We have the Brooklyn Nets plus 2.5 versus the Lakers here. And the total is 232.5. They have Kyrie listed as probable. He didn't play yesterday's game, or the day before yesterday, when James Harden hit the game winner against Phoenix. Kyrie didn't play that night, KD didn't play that night, and they were still able to get the upset against the Phoenix Suns, which are one of the best teams in the NBA right now, just winning outright and covering spreads. So that was surprising to see James Harden by himself out there balling. The whole team came together. I believe they won 128 to 124 off of James Harden three-pointer, contested three-pointer at that. It was a hell of a game winner, though, I'll tell you that. But today we got Kyrie listed as probable. KD listed as out for now, so we'll have to keep up with that. The Nets recently acquired Iman Shumpert. I don't know if you guys remember when, if you guys don't know who he is, you might remember when LeBron James played for the Cavaliers. Iman Shumpert had the flat top, real good defensive player. He's like 6'7", long wingspan. He's real lanky. He plays great defense. The Nets did just pick him up a couple weeks ago. He hasn't played much since he came to the team. I think he's battling an injury also, but he's out today. Anthony Davis, and this is a big one here. This is a big one. And this is going to determine why I'm picking what I'm picking today. So Anthony Davis went out in the Denver Nuggets game. He had an ankle injury, rolled his ankle, or no, the Achilles. Something happened again with his Achilles. He's been on the injury report every single game. He has been playing, but he's on the injury report as questionable because of this Achilles injury he's been dealing with for the last week or two. He decided to come out and play against the Nuggets. At the end of the first half, right before halftime, maybe 2 minutes left before halftime, he goes up for a shot. What seemed like he got fouled. They didn't call it, but it seemed like he got fouled. Or no, they did call it. He went to the free throw line. They called the foul. He went to the free throw line. He was real tender on his ankle or over by his Achilles. And the next play ended up going out, never to return back to that Denver Nuggets game. Sorry, I was just looking at these notes. Never to return to that Denver Nuggets game at all. So here he had an MRI after that game, so they said he's gonna be listed out for like the next 2 to 3 weeks, I believe. So we're not gonna be seeing any Anthony Davis. We're not gonna be seeing any Kevin Durant in this game. But what we will see is a return from Kyrie. James Harden's still playing, and then we got LeBron James on the other side. So this is gonna be a hell of a game, regardless of KD or Anthony Davis. The Nets are on a 4-game win streak. The Lakers also coming off a win over Memphis. Here's where it gets sticky. So the Los Angeles Lakers average about 102 points per night. Not that great. They're in the bottom of the league in points per game per night. But here the Nets rank number 1 in points per game in the NBA, scoring almost 10 more points than the Lakers per night. So keeping that in mind, Lakers with no Anthony Davis, they only score 101 points per night. The Nets are coming in scoring 111 points per night, number 1 in the league, or 112. I expect this one to be a fast-paced, up-and-down game. They don't have Anthony Davis to catch the ball in the post and take 10 seconds to make a move and get to the basket. Typically in these spots, you got a lot of LeBron ducking his head down, driving to the basket, trying to be hella strong and put it up. And then on the other side, and then his supporting cast, LeBron's supporting cast, while he's driving, you got everybody around the perimeter just waiting for him to kick it out. So him going to the basket, him kicking it out for a bunch of three-pointers. Then on the other side, you got Kyrie Irving cooking up. You got James Harden cooking up. Both of these teams shoot a lot of three-pointers. I think the Nets have enough scoring power here and closers with you're basically playing 2 superstars against 1. I know it's LeBron James, but you got to think about in reality the teams we're talking about here. It's not LeBron James playing against a slow-paced other team that sets up half-court plays and inbound plays and all this type of stuff. This team running guns, right? It's Kyrie coming up. He's cooking. Then he's kicking it to James Harden. James Harden splashing, or James Harden comes down and he's cooking. And you got Kyrie getting open for corner threes and whatnot. So this team puts up a lot of points. I just think the Lakers without Anthony Davis, I don't think they put up enough points to get the job done here. My pick's going to be taking the Brooklyn Nets plus the 2.5 over the 232.5. So if you guys paid attention to my video yesterday, I was telling you guys the Nets overtrain. So any total 245 and lower, I'm taking the over. It's automatic. I'm taking the over. No question about it. And it's been cashing easily. So my pick here is going to be the Brooklyn Nets plus 2.5 over the 232.5. And then, like I usually do for you guys, I got a little parlay here at the end of the video in case you guys are interested in putting in a little parlay or something like that. My parlay for today is going to be the Bucks, Milwaukee Bucks, minus 6.5. The Sacramento Kings, plus 2.5. And the Brooklyn Nets, plus 2.5. And then if you wanted to mess with over-unders today, I'm not taking any unders. These numbers are just too low for me. I'd say the Kings and the Heat, over 222.5. Nets and Lakers over 232.5, and then Bucks and Raptors over 235.5. And looks like that's gonna be it for me today. Hope everybody wins some money. Hope these tips helps you out. Even if you guys don't bet, I hope that these videos can keep you guys kind of updated with the injuries, what's going on in the NBA. If you're not able to watch every day, then you could just come here. Hear pretty much everything that's going on in the NBA, communicate, man. Get in that comment section down below. Tell me who you're going to take. Tell me if you had to put in a parlay, what kind of parlay you would put in. If you're interested, we have these Apply Pressure shirts along with a bunch of other Full Court Press merchandise. I'll tag up the Instagram in the bio, or you can just go to my YouTube page, and my Instagram is linked up to my channel. My Instagram is Full Court Press Clothing. Feel free to come over there, comment on the picture, give me a follow, DM me and let me know, like, hey, Suze, I took some of your advice and I won this money on this bet, or, anything, man. Message me, let me know. Thank you guys for watching, man. Comment, like, subscribe. It really helps out a whole lot. I've only been doing this YouTube thing for like 2 days now, but I can't express my appreciation enough, man. You guys been rocking with me. My subs are going up. Comments, likes, you guys are showing love. I really appreciate it. As long as you guys are showing love and you guys like what I'm doing, I'll continue to be here with you guys every single day, every single slate. For the NBA right now, because that's all that's going. As soon as the NFL starts back up, I got you guys. I'm back with the NFL, and then might dabble in a little bit of baseball. I know a couple people who know their things about baseball. My little cousin Dylan. A bunch of people know their things about baseball. I might have to get somebody else on the channel here, you know, maybe to conversate with me back and forth in a discussion type setting, or just have them feature on my channel and kind of give you guys the rundown on the baseball if you guys are interested in that. That's pretty much it, man. This is Michael from Full Court Press. Go Warriors.